We have a really interesting topic today. We are talking about doors and Feng Shui. Now, for those of you, if I am new to you, I am a classically trained Feng Shui consultant. It has been my business almost 15 years now. And I help my residential and retail and commercial clients tap into peak prosperity flow with real Feng Shui. And for me, prosperity is not just financial prosperity, it's also a vitality in terms of health. It's also good relationship, being nurtured in more ways than just financially. And so what do I mean by real Feng Shui is that the problem with mainstream media and how it portrays Feng Shui, or in how it picks and chooses the experts that it wants to push out into the mainstream media, especially in the English-speaking world. A lot of the information, unfortunately, is so far from how Feng Shui was and is still practiced classically. So I'm going to preempt this right now. Some of you are going to ask me if there's a book that you can learn from. I'm going to say right away, no. Because as much as I want to simplify Feng Shui for you, Feng Shui as a wisdom is not simple. It just isn't. And the proper way, the real way to do Feng Shui, actually there's so many layers, there's so many things to look at. It is not as simple as saying the furthest left corner of your home from your front door is your money corner. The furthest right corner is your relationship corner. It's not as simple as that. I wish it was. It just isn't. And real Feng Shui is also not generalized. How we Feng Shui one home is different from how you Feng Shui another home. And so that's where a lot of people, in all honesty, I see in some comments, they're like, Safrina, this is too complicated. I can't follow along. I'm just going to unfollow you. And that makes me sad, not because of them unfollowing me. It's because the essence, the true practice of Feng Shui is not as simple as just A, B, C. It's A, you go to B if it has this factor, but you go all the way to F if something else is in the picture. It's like, and those who took my certification course, and by the way, I have my next round of certification course. We kick off next Thursday online, as well as I have a few students joining me in person in Toronto. But those of you, and some of you are on the live stream right now, who took the certification course, usually I get comments of, Safrina, now I understand why you can't answer certain questions on a live stream. Because before I give an answer, I have to have the right background information. So at the risk of having people being mad at me, because sometimes they will say, oh, she just doesn't want to share her knowledge, and therefore my question is not answered. It's absolutely your right to feel that way, and I'm sorry, but it's also for me to keep my integrity. I would prefer not to give you a half-ass answer. If I don't have the proper information, I would prefer not to put you in a spot that could potentially risk you and the results that you get. Because how many of you guys tried DIY Feng Shui, or what I call fast food Feng Shui, and you end up being in a worse position? I've heard it over and over again, right? So, and one of the questions is, Safrina, is it better to not do DIY Feng Shui? Then, in a sense, yes. Because DIY Feng Shui, or if you're following fast food Feng Shui, your margin of error is really high. You're actually safer not doing Feng Shui. If you're ever going to do Feng Shui, you must you must make sure it is the proper way. Okay, so I know we're going to talk about doors and Feng Shui today, but one of the main misconceptions, especially if you're in a house, is that the facing of the building is always the front door. How many of you guys have heard of that? Right? It's not always the case. Most of the time it is. I would say maybe 95% of the time your Feng Shui facing of your home or of your building aligns with the main door. But there's always that handful of cases where the facing of the building could be the side of the building, right? And in very, very, very rare occasions, it could actually be the back where, maybe, again, we're talking theoreticals here, but, if your street facing is further from your main door, and yet you have a really, really strong body of river, and very fast moving, very loud, and it's much closer to the back of your house, that could be your facing, right? So real Feng Shui is not generalized. And even when I look at facing, because the reason why I talk about facing is someone on one of the comments said couldn't even figure out the facing. I always look at Google Earth, because if someone says, oh, I have this street, I have that, like all that just goes past me. I would rather just look at a Google Earth screenshot, figure out where your doors are, where's the street address, where are the high traffic, low traffic, all that taken into consideration before we figure out the facing. So first things first, the facing of your building is not always the front door. I've got a couple of things here. Okay, so just putting something out of the okay. So I just talked about facing, which is actually the compass reading. Okay, once we figure out the facing, it may or may not be the door. Then we take a proper compass. I prefer you guys not to use the one from the phone, and you take an actual compass reading. A compass has 360 degrees. You need to get the proper compass reading. Don't just say, my house is facing west, Safrina, is that good? West what? There's 45 degrees of west. Which west are you, right? So compass reading is important. The other component for a proper Feng Shui consultant to calculate your energy blueprint is also your period. And I've mentioned it in my other videos. I'm not going to go through it too much here. Feel free to go into my YouTube channel. The Feng Shui period for the lineage that I am trained in is based on the year that you moved into your home. Okay, so you're going to see at the top there, okay, Feng Shui period plus compass reading equals your Feng Shui energy blueprint. This is the permanent energy of your home. That does not change. Okay. Why am I going through this when we're talking about doors? It's because doors are considered the chi mouth. So if you look at your body, okay, what we drink, what we eat through our body determines the nutrition that our body gets, right? So the doors, especially the main door to your house, will determine what kind of energy is feeding the rest of your house. And how do you determine if it's a good door or a bad door? It is based on the Feng Shui energy blueprint, which is calculated from Feng Shui period and compass reading. So once you have this first level of information here, then you go into your layout, okay, and see where your main door is, where your side door is, where even your back door is, and what kind of energy is coming in through all those doors. Which is why if you ever have the chance to design a house from scratch, you should have in your budget a consultation with a proper Feng Shui consultant. The first thing to do, well, one of the first things to do is to make sure that all your doors are bringing in good qi into the house. Now, home designing, for me, if you do it with me, it is an investment, and I know a few people bulk. But if you're spending 6 figures building a house, a little bit more, a small fraction of that as a Feng Shui consultation to make sure, first and foremost, your doors are well placed. That alone will set a huge, auspicious, positive, energetic foundation for your home. Okay. So, and then talking about doors and facing, people will say, oh, Safrina, I have my front door, but it's really just for like Amazon delivery, pizza delivery. We actually use the back door or the side door more. Will that affect the facing? No. Even if you use the side door or the back door more, the facing of your house could still be different. Okay. And I know this might confuse a lot of you guys, but I'm just putting it out there. Just because you're using the side door more doesn't mean that your side door is the facing. You still have to look at the full picture. Okay. I'm just going to go through the little bits of notes that I have here before I start taking questions. Okay. And then since we're talking about front door, side door, back door, what if you're not able to design your house from scratch? You're already renting a place, or you've already bought a place. What do you do then? Then we look at, again, the permanent energy of the home, and we look at what are the energies that are coming through the front door, the side door, and the back door. And that will determine, let's say if a house has all 3 doors, right? Front, side, and back. Once you have the permanent energy blueprint, then you can decide, okay, you know what? The side door is better. The side door brings in more money. We'll use the side door more. And so that's just the permanent energy, right? The permanent energy stays as long as you are in that house. But energy constantly changes. Flying star energy changes every year, every month, right? In fact, also every day. But even me, I don't even do my flying star based on the day. But let's say your side door is your money door based on your permanent energy, right? Which is actually the case for my house. My side door is one of my money doors. But because it's in the West this year, and those of you who are familiar with Flying Star for 2022, what is happening in the West this year? The West has number 7. And in Flying Star, the number 7 is not positive at all. So this year, I don't use my side door. I use my front door. Even though permanent energy-wise, the front door is not as good compared to the side door, but because of the energetic changes, just for this year, I'm going to change my usage. So this live stream is a little bit of education, but also a little bit of demystifying DIY feng shui. How many of you guys have heard all this even? Right? You can't learn all that from a book, unfortunately. Okay. So that's why when we do consults with clients, we tell them, use this door more, maybe this year, right? Use that door more, maybe a specific month. We drill down into all that just by looking at the energetic changes. Okay. And then there's internal doors and external doors. So I am going to, all right, so what do I mean by internal door and external door? So this is a home layout, okay? The main door is this one here. Okay, let me make that a little bigger, okay? So this is the main door. And this door opens up to outside. So this becomes external door. This is the any other external doors. So there's this one. This is a sliding door, right? This is a window. I think this is a window. Actually, I'm not sure, but let's say this is a window, okay? And this looks like a sliding door as well. So these would be external door, right? Both of these. Okay. External doors are the more important ones because they're the ones that bring the chi from outside. Okay. So let's say if I, if I'm designing a layout, I want the doors to be bringing in money. And by the way, how would you feel if I tell you that in flying stars feng shui, you can have 3, maybe even 4 money directions? How many of you guys have been told every house only has 1 money direction? Yet in flying star, if you know how to tap into auspicious water stars, that is your money direction. So let's say for this house has this, let's say this is facing south, okay? Actually south, let's say south 2, okay? For south 2, in fact, south 2 homes, meaning facing due south, the money direction is in fact in the south, the northeast, and the west. Okay, but then let's say I can't put another door in the west here. That's fine. At least I have a front door in one money direction, and then I have like a back door in the second money direction, right? So those are external doors. You want the external doors to be as auspicious as possible so that you can feed your house with the most abundant energy as possible. But once the energy, the chi is already in the house, now we also want the homes to have good internal doors. So this is the internal door. I'm gonna actually maybe use a different color. Okay, a good internal door. So that's an internal door. This is an internal door. That's not really a door. Let me see what else. Okay, here's an internal door here, right? It goes into the hallway, goes into this area. Oh, actually, no, that's an opening. Okay, this is an internal door, right? This doesn't count because that goes into a closet. This, I guess, is an internal door, okay? So the internal door, what do the internal doors do? So once the external doors bring in good chi from the outside of the house or the building, then you want the internal door to also direct in the most auspicious energies into these specific rooms. Okay? So how many of you guys have heard that? Internal door versus external door. And that's another thing that I look at when I help a client design a house. So many layers, you guys. Okay? It's not simple. It's not straightforward. It's not something you can learn off of an online article. All right. I'm just going to go through, I think that's it for my notes. I have another one about doors and water activation, and then I'll take questions. Okay. So doors and water activation. So when you want to put a fountain in the house, either inside the house or let's just do outside a house for simplicity's sake. Okay. First of all, not all homes can take a water activation. And what do I mean by water activation? It can be a fish pond, can be a pool, can be a large external fountain. I get a lot of pushback with pools. People have left me because I say you can't have a pool in your house. And then they come back and say, well, we put a pool and we should have listened to you. But I don't want that, right? That's not what I want to hear. I would rather you play it safe and sacrifice not having a pool. So doors and water activation. So let's go back to, and this is how the elite practitioners do it. Okay. So let's say, wait. Okay. So let's get rid of all that. Okay. So this is the main door. And let's say after we look at the permanent energy of the home, I decide, oh, this house can actually take a water activation. Okay. Then, so again, let's say this house is facing south. Oh, hold on. Okay. So let's say this house is facing south. And they can actually put a water feature in the southeast. Okay. So most of my students, when they take their Feng Shui course, they'll learn how to do water placements. Okay. And let's say, okay. So let's say based on the permanent energy of this house can put a water feature in the southeast. So the southeast for this house is this area, right? I'm using the 24 mountain right now. For those of you who took the course, in case you have questions, I'm using the 24 mountain compass, not our lineages demarcation method, because we're putting the water activation outside, okay? External feature. So you can put the fountain anywhere here, okay? On the outside of the house, for this example. The advanced way is to actually take the compass at the door and then superimpose that. Hold on. So let's say this is the first one. Okay, and I'm going to take this one here. So one compass in the middle of the house and another compass at the front door. So whatever overlaps between the southeast from the center and the southeast from the front door, that is the best spot for this house, based on their permanent energy, to put a water feature. And in fact, if you guys are trained in Shen Kong Dagua, which is admittedly one of the more, if not the most advanced in terms of flying star methods, okay, you will see in southeast, okay, southeast, this is actually 45 degrees, right, of southeast. The really advanced method is to find the 5 degrees. So this is 45 degrees, okay. The really advanced method is to find the, let's say the 5 degrees is here. Measured from the front door. Okay, obviously this is not the best hand drawing here. Whoops. Okay. That is the more advanced one. So out of the 45 degrees of southeast, we will see if there is a 5 degree of the 45 from the front door or whatever door. Okay, it can actually be an internal door as well. But for this example, we're using the front door. This is the front door here, right? That is how elite practitioners place it. And the way I do it, I look at the facing of the door, the sitting of the house, and potentially the date of birth of the main breadwinners in the house. You will never hear this, or you will not get this information properly from a book. So this is not so much to teach you how to do it, but more to open your eyes how sadly lacking the information that you get from mainstream media. Okay, and not just that, it can potentially do a lot of harm for a lot of, and it has done a lot of harm for a lot of people that I can see. So I'm gonna go through questions. Okay, Beatrice is asking, in terms of period, what if I have moved in 2014, but it was a sublease that began a few years earlier, meaning the apartment was never vacant during the lease period. So when did the first tenant move in? Then you follow the period for that first tenant when the lease started. Karma says, unfortunately for us, cannot use other 2 doors since back is not accessible and there is no side door except if I use underground garage door. Then, well, at this point, we don't know which door is good. Maybe those 2 back doors are not good. And in fact, it might be good that you're not able to use it, right? Right now, we don't know where your auspicious doors are. So the facing, the direction the door faces when looking at it close from the outside or inside. I actually have another video on that. So it's looking out. You're looking inside, out, if that answers your question. But it's not always the door, Beatrice. Go back to the beginning of my live stream. The facing of your home is not always your main door. Most of the time it is. But, and I share the story over and over again because it's a warning. Quite a few years ago, someone from Australia reached out to me and said, Safrina, I need your help, but I can't engage you in a consultation because I've already paid 2 other people for consults. But what happened that triggered him coming to me for help is because the second consultant based his facing on his front door, When in actual fact, when you start looking at the street formation, the address street and everything, his facing is actually the side of the house. So the second consultant did his energy calculation based on the front door as the facing and told him to put a water feature. So the issue is his calculation is wrong. So his recommendation now is also wrong. So he put a water feature that is in the worst spot possible. Once I calculated his permanent energy based on his side, the side of his house, he put the water feature in the worst place possible. And he said, Safrina, within 3 months of placing that water feature, I lost $250,000 in investments. So Beatrice, your front door is not always your facing. Okay. Dorothy says, have been told to use the number 8 facing star as the money star, which would be the money direction period 8. Is that wrong? That is one of the money stars. That is one of the money stars. For period 8, for period 9, it changes again. I'll give you a tip. In period 8, it's 8, 9, and 1. That is auspicious. I won't tell you why. And in period 9, it's not 9, 1, and 2. Okay. So period number 9 as the facing star is the money star. That's not incorrect. It's just one of the 3. Okay. So you're missing out on the other 2. Does big 2-car garage door count as external door? Yeah. Yeah, it can. But I don't use it as much unless the garage door is used quite a bit. Then I'll look at that. But really, it's the actual opening. So it would be more, Carol Ann, it would be more the door between the garage going into the house. That would be the door that I look at. Okay, so it's not the opening of the garage that opens and closes to let the car in. It's after you get out of your car, you know, you're parked in the garage, you get out of your car. What is the door that you use to go into the house? For me, that would be more important. Okay. Yeah, see, Dorothy said, so true about pools. The one we had at the backyard caused so much trouble. Okay. I knew this was going to come up. What can we do if we don't want to give up our pools? Can we remedy it? Yeah, maybe. The remedy might lessen it by like 5, maybe 10%, but the issue will still be there. Yeah. And most of the time, well, not most of the time, there's been instances where I go into a client's house and there's really serious health issues, really serious financial troubles, and it all started from when the pool was put in. But it's already been years and years. It doesn't happen overnight, okay? I'll tell you this. It doesn't happen overnight. It might take a couple of years for the worrying stuff to start popping up. A few pots of plants is not going to do much. It's like it's a Band-Aid. It's not a solution, right? And in those really serious instances, I have asked my clients to earth it over, to sacrifice their pools. Okay. Okay, Tina, I know you asked this. Is northwest facing good for this year and in period 9? Well, this year, which northwest, right? There's 45 degrees of northwest. Are you northwest 1? Let me pull up the compass again. Okay. Okay, so northwest. There's northwest 1, right? northwest 2, northwest 3. All the directions have, hence, that is why it's called 24 mountains, because there are 8 directions, right? North, south, east, west, southeast, southwest, northwest, northeast. And each of these 8 directions are further divided into 3 more. So there's 24 directions, really. So which northwest are you? And that's just part of the permanent energy calculation. I still don't have a full picture of the energy of your home. So I won't know if your home with that door is good or not. Okay. Okay, so I will, so Dorothy says the front door lined up with the kitchen window and you could see the pool. Caused financial issues, bad health, and we lost the home to foreclosure. So sorry to hear about that, Dorothy. But I will tell you, it's not because of the front door. It's not because you can see the pool from the front door. It's likely because your pool is located at the wrong spot. It has nothing to do with the front door, I should say. Okay? At least not from you thinking that you can see it from the front door. How are the 3 money positions determined within the house? And is it the same for an apartment? We look at what's called auspicious. What is timely? So right now we are in period 8. 8, 9, and 1 is considered timely. It's considered auspicious. Is it the same for an apartment? It's the same for any space. It can be a room, one little room. It can be, well, it can be applied to one little room. It's the whole calculation is the same for residential, for commercial, for business, for residential. It's all, the calculation is the same. Application might be a little bit different. Yeah. Oh, this is a good one. For remedying a door, does it matter which side of the door you put the remedy on? It doesn't matter, but my preference is actually on the door. So if remedying the door means you need more water, obviously you can't put water on a door. So what's the next best thing? As a remedy or as an activator, I do prefer to use the elements, right? 金木水火土. So we have fire, water, metal, earth, wood, okay? For activating and remedying, I do try to use the actual element, but if you can't use the element, the next best thing is to use the colors. So let's say you need more water element around the door, then it can be on the left side or the right side of the door, but I prefer to actually make the door black or blue. Those are water element colors. Okay. Okay, so that question that I answered just now, I think Dorothy answers your question about remedying a star. Water fountain. So let me reiterate this. Whether or not you can have a water fountain is a case-by-case situation. We need to know what is the energy blueprint of your home. We need to actually look at your layout preferably before we determine whether or not you can put a water fountain. So unfortunately it's not something that I can answer here, but don't just, if you guys look at my video and you think you can put a water fountain in the Southeast just from that, you've missed my whole point of why I do this live stream. Okay. What to put if my front door is in front of an elevator? What are you allowed to put? Not much. And true, it is not the best to have your the door to your unit to be directly across from the elevator. Let's say if you're in a condo or an apartment building, that's not the best. But you can't do anything. Like, so this is the elevator that opens up, right? Opens and closes. This is your door. And this is the hallway, right? If you put something in the hallway, the condo board or the management, they're going to swoop down on you and tell you to take it away. Legally, you can't do much. Okay? But if you're looking for an apartment, first and foremost is to find one where the door is not straight across from the elevator. Okay. So many of you guys are asking where to put a water feature. I don't cover it here, unfortunately, because there's a lot to go through before we can determine what is the best location for water placements. And I would prefer not to answer it because I don't have all the information I need to prescribe anything. So I would prefer not to, and that could potentially do more harm than good for you because I don't have full information, right? So for those of you who, I will be ending this, great questions, by the way. I will be ending this live stream pretty soon, but if you want to know how to properly feng shui your home, if you want to know what color your main door should have, for instance, I just saw that question. If you want to know where can you place water feature in your house, if you want to know, you know, why after you move into a place that all of a sudden bad things start to happen or even good things start to happen. In my certification course, I'm still taking registrations. I don't have a lot of spots left, but we do start next Thursday. At this point, most of you guys will be joining online, so it's all on Zoom. And I do have a selection process. I'm not taking everyone into the course. I do have a very simple but very important selection process. So if you're interested in the certification course, then email me, safrina@fengshuiandprosper.com, and we'll have a quick chat via email or via messenger, and we'll see if you will be given the opportunity to register for the certification course. A lot of the questions that you guys have based on your period and based on your facing, those are questions that you will be able to answer for yourself once you finish the course. Yeah, so I know these are your burning questions, but unfortunately, it's not something I can answer on a live stream because I need to run a full diagnostics before I say yes or no to a door color, before I say yes or no to a water feature. Feel free to be mad at me, you know, that's just par for the course, but real feng shui is not easily answered like this. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. I will be putting a link to the certification course down in the description if you guys want to get more information on that. And for those of you first timers who've joined me on my live stream for the very first time, I hope that was a great experience for you guys. If you don't want to miss future live streams, and make sure you either follow me on social media or you're on my mailing list. So that way you'll get the notification whenever I do the next live stream. And let me know what topics you want me to cover. Even though I feel like I've gone through topics over and over again, if I get enough requests, I might redo a certain topic. So thank you so much for your time, spending some of your Thursday afternoon, and for some of you guys, Friday morning with me. I really, really do appreciate it. I'm humbled by it. Have a great day. Take care. If I am new to you and you love classical feng shui, meaning real feng shui that gives you real results, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, because I will be giving new videos every Thursday, and make sure you don't miss out on that.